Welcome back. Moving on to the fourth part of the series. Um, Normally now I would want to solder this so-called new PCB on the camera, but before doing that I want to check first of all that I did not make any kind of shorts within the PCB when desoldering it, and second of all that all the traces are correct. I mean correct meaning uninterrupted. So I'll just take my multimeter, set it on continuity, and let's see what we have here. And I'm simply going to follow the traces, which is quite easy because you can quite clearly see them. For instance, well, actually, first of all, I'm going to check that I don't have a short between these pads that are close together. So this is fine, this is fine, this is fine, 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 and fine. All right. Next, I'm going to start from, let's say, here and move and make my way this way, so clockwise. All right. First pad goes here, so this one and that one. The second pad goes here. Third pad goes here, and fourth pad goes all the way to here. All right. Next, this one I've already checked here. This one here. This one goes also to here. This one goes here. And also here. No, that one. Okay. And the last one here goes is the second line, and the second line goes here. Okay, all good so far. This one is here and here, and this one is here. Next we have this one that I've already checked here, but also goes here. Although obviously if this one and this one have continuity and this one and this one have continuity, that means that all three are on the same path. Okay, so this one checked out and this one checked out. So I guess that's pretty much it, because here we only have this one with this one and this one with this one. These two I've already checked, and these two I've already checked, and this third one goes here and here and here, or here. All right, so pretty much the PCB is all right, no shorts and no discontinuities. And now the next step will be to actually solder it in place. Now this is going to be a bit fiddly for my level of skills in soldering, and I will probably start with these two because I noticed that these little, let's call them terminals, don't poke very much through the PCB, so I'll probably just add like a blob of solder that will encapsulate both the pad and the terminal, and hopefully that will be all right. Then I will need to get this one in position, and these two pads that are a bit damaged will need to connect to the motor. And because I have already used this part from my broken camera, I think the best way would be to actually use all parts from my broken camera. So that means motor, PCB, and quite possibly the entire shutter section. For the shutter section, one of my concerns is if the outer shell matches, and it should. Let me explain. So this is the shutter from this camera. It is the first model of shutter, the shutter used in SX-70 model 1, let's say. This is the shutter from the second model. Now, see, there is a difference. The cable is a bit different, and this one used to go like this. So this is the actual match, the actual pair, while this other one has these little ends of wires. Obviously I can solder the wires directly on the pads, but I'm pretty sure there were some modifications made between this one and this one, including the aperture, not the aperture blades, the shutter blades. Let's see how this one looks. It looks quite similar. This one turns easier. This one turns a bit harder, but I suppose I can lubricate a couple of points. As for the optical part, I think this one is a little bit better. Also, the electric eye is different. I don't know how that translates into the functioning of the camera, and I don't know if it makes any difference when the PCB is concerned, because if you can remember from the first or second episode, this thing looks totally different than the one that was on the original PCB. So I don't know. This one probably only controls the motor. That's my logic. And yeah, I don't know. On one hand, I really like the design with the lines more. On the other hand, having some reference of the actual focusing distance might be useful. I don't know. In some instances, I don't know. I don't think these two are, or maybe they are, I don't know. I don't know if they are switchable or swappable. And I don't really intend to go deeper than I would otherwise need. for the time being, I have these two, and I have another set of shutter assembly. Another shutter assembly, but that one is marked in feet, so I would rather either use this one in meters, because I live in Europe and feet are the two things that allow me to move, not a unit of measurement. So I would either use this one or this one that is super funky with the lines. Maybe I'm going to ask a question on the internet and see if anybody has any idea if I can simply swap them and be done with it. Alright, so this one is here. What am I doing? Ah, okay. All right. Now, on one hand, I would really like to go as deep as possible, because that's part of the learning curve. And if I don't, I will probably have some kind of regrets afterwards. Oh, come on. Am I handicapped or something? Sure seems I am. All right. I must admit that I'm a bit anxious and scared right now, because I always have this feeling of things going wrong. So my biggest fear is that I'm going to put everything back and nothing is going to work. Although I try to be as meticulous as possible, I try to follow the rules. This one works. The gear train appears to be working. The motor works because I checked it. I only need to get it back in here and solder those two pads on it. But the final countdown, as the song says, will be when I will get the other part of the camera connected to this part of the camera, and I'll be able to actually feed some electricity in it, because right now actually it doesn't matter, right? Because the other part is purely mechanical. It does nothing, it has nothing inside. So it's simply a hood that folds and has a mirror. Okay, so that means that it's enough to get this one here and the door. So this latch can, actually I don't even need a door. I can only push on this latch and I should have an electrical contact that would tell the camera that the door, the front part is closed. And I would have to see yeah, I'm a bit confused, I'm sorry for that. I'll need to check the manual to see which pads I need to short in order for this part of the camera to think that a picture is being taken. And if I can do that, probably I would have to see this part, the Fresnel part, go up, then a picture being ejected, and then this part going down again. Yeah, probably that's what I'm going to see. All right, I think I will stop here for this part of the video. I'm not going to do the soldering live because I have pretty much nothing to say about soldering. I mean, it would probably be just a bit of the video on how not to solder, so it's better that I do it on my own, in my own privacy. And I will need to buy. I had some of that silicone, but I can't find it. I need to buy a special silicone to re-glue the second mirror. It's a silicone used in cars. It's heat resistant. It's black, and as far as I can tell, it's the proper material for the job. So I will need to separate the mirror without breaking it, because that would be bad. Okay, so I think I am going to break one of those pins and then try to swivel it. Although only one of so only this part is loose, and I wonder if I can somehow get some of that silicone in there and just leave it alone, because I'm a bit afraid of breaking it. If both parts would have been loose, then I would be able to very slightly raise it and then twist. But right now I can't, because this part is okay. So maybe the best way is to not risk it, because if I pull on it this much, I could get some of that silicone in there, I think. Maybe I will inject the silicone in a syringe, and with a needle that's thick enough, I could actually inject the silicone in that point. I suppose I could try it, because I got nothing to lose. All right. Yeah, and then I also need to polish this, which is not much of a thing. Clean the overall assembly, clean the bellows, and I will be pretty much done with this. And also clean this, and probably I will need to bend one of these two. Actually, no, not one of those two, but one of these two. I think this one is the one that is not catching on. on which part? On this part, in this hole. So I need to bend this one a bit inwards. Alright, enough talking for pretty much no action. I will see you in a bit. I just want to add 3 more things before I forget. First thing is I checked I can't swap the shutter assembly because this case does not fit on the other shutter assembly, and obviously I need the silver one or the chrome one, so I will have to hope that this one works. I mean, if that it works in the context of the new PCB. That's the first thing. The second thing is I remember that the motor from the camera also had a component here. I don't know what that component is still. This one doesn't, so I'm not really sure if I should use this one or the other one. I think I should use this one because in theory it's paired with the PCB, so yeah, probably I'll go with this one. And the third thing is the fact that this gear train did not have this latch. I'm almost 100% sure it didn't have it. So I need to somehow find out if this latch was removed from later models like Model 2, or maybe I simply forgot that it had the latch. Oh no, my bad. This is the latch. Yep. So yes, apparently I forgot I took it off. Well, good to know. And also, I'm not really sure yet if I should simply abandon this plastic coupler or not. I think I'm going to keep it because it's in a good state, and I have 2 of them, so both this one and the one that I took from this camera are both apparently good. Maybe I'll check them with a high magnification loupe to see if there's any kind of cracking in either of them, but otherwise I think I will keep them because I don't think I'm gonna use this camera a lot given the price of the SX-70 film and the 600 film if I make the conversion. So maybe, I don't know, I mean, for how many packs of film do I think I'm gonna use? 10 maybe in its lifetime, maybe, I don't know. So in the worst case scenario is that the coupler breaks and I will have to peel off my newly glued leather from the bottom of the camera, so I can remove the bottom of the camera and get rid of the coupler and use the spring as a coupler. That's the worst case scenario, should this work by the end of the series. So yeah, these are the 3 or 4 things that I wanted to say before I forget, and I'll continue when everything is put back in place. Alright, I finally managed to buy that silicone for the mirror. It's called a gasket maker, made by Zolex. I don't know who these guys are. General distributor is in Slovenia, so it's an European producer or distributor, I don't know. And it says it's a neutral silicone, odorless, high temperature, up to 315 degrees Celsius, strong elastic after curing, blah blah blah. And it's made for crankcase gaskets, I think, so it should be more than enough for a little mirror. What I did, I got it inside the syringe, and I have a fairly large needle, and I hope I can push it out through the needle. I didn't try it yet, so it will be a premiere for both you and me. All right. Let's see. Come on. Dog hair everywhere. I'm not pushing very hard because I don't want it to pop out. And I hope I'm going to see something black in the tip of the needle, but so far it's not looking good. Oh, I'm disappointed. Okay, plan B. Let's see how deep should I be able to get. Oh, I could snip it somewhere around here, and it should be long enough. All right. Just that doing this kind of blocks. No, actually it doesn't. And I see something black, so we might still have a chance. Yes, look at it. The only problem is that the flow is extremely poor. But I guess it's better than nothing. Obviously, you could go with a even thicker needle, but that's all I had around, and I'll just have to manage. So the plan is to get as much as possible right here, so on top of the old one, because obviously I can't remove it with the mirror in place, and hope that it's enough. And it's not coming out anymore. And the plan just went to shit because both ends are now loose. So theory says that I can swivel and remove it all together. Okay, well, that kind of makes things a lot easier, because all I need to do now is get rid of the old glue, the old silicone, and right here it's plastic, plastic, and plastic. So those three little tabs are what gives the mirror its precise alignment. All right. So this is out. I don't even know if I really need to remove the old silicone altogether. I guess that's good enough. Alright, and also this little bit from the glass. Alright, so now the mirror is pretty clean and it should go back inside like this. So I have 1, 2, 3 positioning pins and it only goes in this position. Now the instant camera guy from YouTube, Jake, suggests applying a fair amount of silicone, not only in the 3 points where the original silicone was, but also somewhere in the middle, so it offers a uniform and widely spread support. And that's what I'm gonna do, because I suppose he knows a lot better than me, and because I no longer need the little needle, I can squirt it a lot better. Okay, and a big blob in the middle. And theoretically, that will spread probably like this wide once the mirror is in position. Let's see. Nice. So I'm only pushing on the 3 tabs, so right above the 3 tabs, because obviously if I push in the middle it will flex and I might break it. And pushing here moves the entire surface of this part, so basically it's a good sign that the mirror is not moving on its own, but it's moving along with the entire piece, and that means it's seated correctly. No sweat here, everything looks all right. Okay, this thing says 24 hours for total cure. So apply uniform layer, wait for hardening for 24 hours. So tomorrow by this time it should be ready to be reassembled. I'm actually quite happy this happened, because now I know this mirror thing is out of the question. And for the last little part of this video, I'm going to show you the horror. The horror that is my soldering. Okay, just let me get rid of this. Now I don't have the fancy solder that he uses in his videos, the LED one. My solder is some super cheap generic stuff that is made of stanium, or whatever this symbol is called in English, and oh, it does have lead, but probably a lot less, because the solder joints are this dull gray finish, so they are not the original shiny silverish look like this. Anyhow, I managed to get the bloody thing back. Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention, getting this one back was actually quite a challenge. No way, I really didn't. I tried for like 30 minutes or something and I gave up. I couldn't put the little connector back, the plastic thingy, the plastic joint from there. No way. I mean, I could get, I managed to get the plastic thing on top of the shaft, but getting the spring to mesh with the plastic thing, not a chance. So I went for his method of elongating the spring, and it was a lot easier. Soldering back some of these connections was a challenge. I think I did a fairly good job. I mean, everything looks to be okay, except for these 2 pads. These were a mess. They were a mess from before, so from when I desoldered it, they are an even bigger mess right now. All that crispy brown paper. It's exactly that, crispy brown paper. So this is basically useless, but the pads are still okay and they are still connected to the copper traces, so I should be fine. After soldering them, obviously right now I am extremely anxious because I have no way of knowing if I messed something up or not. So after soldering them, I decided to measure the resistance across these 2 points, and the multimeter said almost 0. And I kind of panicked because on one hand I know nothing about electronics, but on the other hand the motor that I got out of this camera, because this is the motor from my older camera, the one that had another thing between the two connectors, that one showed a significantly higher resistance, and I thought I did something wrong. And I got it out only to realize that I have another one, a third motor that has no components here on the pins, and I measured that one and it said almost 0 as well, so I decided it was actually okay. And for the time being I'm sticking to the plan of using the components from my broken camera on this one, since I'm using the flexi board from that broken camera. The only thing that I won't be able to use, as I already said, is actually the entire shutter assembly, because the shutter assembly from the S670 Model 2 does not fit into the case, into the aluminium casing of this Model 1. So I will have to go with the Model 1 with the original shutter and hope that everything connects correctly to this part of the electronics mainly. What I did do, because I didn't know better than that, was actually get a film pack. So get the door back, get the film pack, and started shorting things around here, and nothing happened. And of course that was another reason for panicking. But then I said, okay, let's just go back to the basics and read the fucking manual, right? Obviously I should have read the entire manual before starting to poke around things, but I simply can't be bothered to read 70 something pages, especially if I don't have the camera already disassembled, so I can look in the manual, look on the camera and make something out of it. But it also has these diagrams that are diagnostic diagrams. So basically you have like failure analysis of switch 7 and 6 closure, and you just follow the diagram and it will tell you what the probable cause is. Unfortunately this one is okay, you can read it. This one is okay, you can read it. This one is okay. This one is not really okay. I mean, I could make something out of it, but it's super small. Maybe if I print it smaller so the letters are crisper, I don't know. Oh, this is flash mode. I don't care about the flash because I don't have a flash. So I don't care for the time being. I usually try to get the cameras in their 100% operating state. Ambient exposure, well, this I would care about, but this is even smaller, so I can't really understand what it says. It says closes, that is I think S1, maybe, I don't know. Blades close, motor run, exposure occur, camera cycles. And then you go down and says something like blades remain blades remain closed at end of cycle, but it's super tricky to read, to make letters out of these pixels. um, Current something, I don't know, yes, no, tough luck. Is voltage on something something, yes, no. So yeah, this one for instance is very hard to read. This one is the same, and the same difficulty in reading. Dark slide ejection, dark slide eject mode, switch 8. And then these are just some diagrams, parts and whatnot. But this repair manual or book also tells you step by step how the camera actually functions. So what's the chain of events, and at some page that I don't really remember now, for instance, this is the exposure process and operation sequence, and it lists in order for ambient and flash. Switch 8 opens, switch 1 is closed by the operator, solenoid 1 powers up, shutter starts to close, shutter closes, then switch 4 BC, I don't know what BC is, switches AC to BC, whatever that means. Motor starts solenoid 1 power down, gear train rotates, cam rotates, mirror released. So step by step, which is a very nice thing, because if, for instance, I get the pack of film inside, it buzzes and whirls, but nothing happens, I could, in theory, track down where the camera stopped and try to debug it from there on. Something about collimating the camera. Camera tester, where was that? Because, yeah, I'm probably boring you right now. Shutter components. What I was trying to say or show is the fact that reading the manual can be very, very, very useful. Well, yeah, well, switches. Is this the one? I don't really remember, because I remember seeing a diagram that's not here. But the idea is that in the flappy thing part, the one with the mirror, there are also two switches, 6 and 7, if I remember correctly, or 7 and 8, one of these two, that actually tells the computer that the camera is opened, so it is in theory ready to take a shot. So basically, unless those switches or one of those switches closes, it has no importance that you have a film pack with a good battery in it and this part closed, because it's a circuit that must close into places at once. So yes, I do have one of the two contacts closed here, but I'm lacking the other one, and that means the camera thinks it's closed, so no current is allowed to move around. Now I don't know where. Oh, is this one? Is this switch? I'll need to figure it out, because there is nothing electronical that goes from this part to that part, so it must be a mechanical thing that happens when that one raises. Yeah, well, we'll see. So basically, so far I still have hope that it will work, but the real test will only be probably tomorrow when this is dried. Is this part of the switch? This could be part of the switch, I don't know. Now I need to know. So this one connects to this. Okay, so this little latch or whatever it is should go inside here and attach to something. Oh, it doesn't attach. It slides in this little cutout, and when it slides, it touches these two contacts, so it moves in and out. So how does it do it? When the camera is closed, no, when the camera is opened, this will raise, so this part with the two little not notches, two little bumps, this bump and this bump, probably comes in contact with the two contacts in there. So the two contacts are something like this, and when the camera opens, that part with the two little bumps basically will be here, so current can go through. When the camera closes, this one goes down, and either the two contacts are open because the distance between them is larger than the thickness of that contact arm. That's one of my theories right now. Or the sides of that little latch are isolated. So let's see. I'm more inclined to believe it's the first option. Well, what do you know? So it beeps when I'm touching the two little dimples, but I'll need to really clean them because it beeps, but not always. But it doesn't beep when I'm touching the actual thing. So it basically acts like a wedge, that goes in between two contacts and stops the conductivity. Well, I guess that's the amount of electronics that I know. or things about electricity. All right, so that's about it. That's about it for today. Tomorrow this will be dried. I will clean obviously the mirror. I will clean the bellows. I will I think this is plastic. Yeah, this is plastic, and it has like a rivet that goes from one side to the other. That's metal. Otherwise it makes no real sense. Okay, something else that I've learned today. Alright, and then I will put everything back together, and then I will address the shutter mechanism and clean stuff around there. And I've thought about it, and I think I'm just leaving it alone. So I'm not going to replace that capacitor, because I still have a pack of SX-70 film that I would like to use. That's on one hand, and on the other hand, the price difference between 600 film and SX-70 film is not that big around here. The biggest problem is that I rarely get to buy any of them, so they are kind of always out of stock. So I think I will leave it alone, and worst case scenario, if I ever want to change it, I could in theory replace it without taking anything else apart. I'm just going to separate the shutter module and work with it hanging from the camera. All right, long story short, that's it for today. I will see you next time, when maybe we'll get some sounds out of the camera. Cheers.